Alright, what I've got here today is an engine that I've had for about a week now. It's an Atlas HO scale model of CSX GP38 number 2042. As you can see on the label, trademark reproduced under license of CSX. And we're going to check it out today on Toby's Trains. Alright, so first off, we're going to have to take it out of the backs. Take the backs out of the protective sleeve here. There's the backs itself. As you can see on my wrist, I'm wearing a Series 3 Apple Watch. Anyway, sorry about getting off topic there. But removing the lid, you can see there's a couple of manuals, including an owner's manual. And then there's this little foam cover. And there's the engine itself. Anyway, as you can see, it's in this plastic case, which is in a plastic sleeve. I have to push it out of that. This is kind of difficult with me holding my iPhone on one hand and doing this with my other. And then you take this off. Now we'll put the engine on the track. And there we are. Now, as you can see right off the bat, this engine's got some very nice detailing. And yeah, we're gonna take a closer look at those details. Now we're going to start with the close details at the front, starting with the pilot area. As you can see, it's got some nice MU hoses on either side of the coupler, and you got a nicely detailed coupler cut bar. And pretty much all of the details on this engine are separately applied. Got this nice self-adjusting coupler, and you got these nice handrail detail, and this plate actually drops down, which is a nice touch, and you can put it back up like that. And I don't know if you saw, if I bring it up, you can see the walkways have safety tread. And on the bottom of the pilots, there's drainage holes, which is a nice touch. Same thing with the steps on the pilots right here. They have drainage holes as well. Moving up to the front of the locomotive, we got a nice separately applied grab iron on either side of the nose. And you got a nicely done sand cap here, which is a nice touch. And you got a nice separately applied grab iron. And by the way, this sand cap is also separately applied. And you got nice separately applied handrails here on either side. And you got nice clear plastic inserts on the cab windows with separately applied windshield wipers on each one, which is a nice touch. And you got lighted number boards and an operating headlight. And you also got a separately applied horn piece. I've shown a light here so you can get a better look at one of the hand-painted crew figures in the cab, which is a nice touch. And you got nice crisp numbering and lettering, and also a nice crisp GP38 here. And you got a legible builder's plate right here, which is actually a decal. And while I've got this chute right here, you can get a nice look at the truck side frames, which are very nicely detailed. And it looks like some of the details are separately applied, which is really nice. Moving toward the back, you got some nice grill work right here, and as well as here and back here. And you got a nice crisp CSX logo on the side. And you got nice separately applied handrails. And the stanchions are attached to the handrails here, in this case of this model, in case any of you are wondering. And you got some nice legible warning placards all over the place, right here and here and here, as well as here and here. And on the fuel tank area, you got some hand-painted details right here and right here, which is a really nice touch. And you got a nice separately applied fill cap right here, which I think is a really cool touch. And while I've got this shot, you can get another nice look at the truck side frame right here. If I zoom in, you can see all those nice separately applied details. The back of the locomotive, in my opinion, is the busiest part, because you got this operational backup light, which is actually functional, and you got these separately applied grab irons, which would allow the crew to climb up to the top of the locomotive. And you got a nice separately applied sand cap up here. And you got operating number boards, which function when the engine is set at reverse. And you got a nice crisp CSX logo right here. And like on the front, it's got a functioning drop plate back here. And like the front, you got separately applied handrails and stanchions, as well as a separately applied brake hose and separately applied MU hoses. And you also have a separately applied coupler cut bar. And of course you got a coupler back here, which is the standard Katy style knuckle coupler. And as you can see, there are drainage holes down here, as well as on the steps. And on the walkways, there's safety tread, like I mentioned earlier. Up on top behind the cab, you got these nice separately applied lift rings all over the place. And you got these roof vents up here. And you got the exhaust stacks right here. And if I zoom in to this area, there we go. You can see a separately applied grab iron flanked by a separately applied lift ring on either side. And I don't know if you can see it in the video, but you can see there's some rivet detail as well going on all over the place on the top. Which I think is nice. Excuse all the dust there, if that's dust. Here's what the other side of the GP38 looks like. It's pretty much the same, except you have this strutting out, or jutting out, whatever you want to call it. And I forgot to mention, when I had the shot of the other side, I forgot to mention the bell that you see. Alright, the last thing we're going to do before we fire this baby up is BFIMO. Best feature in my opinion. For me, when it comes to BFIMO, it determines on first impressions. And the two things that caught my eye at first were the lighting system and the sound system. When I first fired up this engine, I noticed that with the lighting, it doesn't only light up the headlight, but it also lights up the number boards and illuminates the cab. And when I switch directions, the cab light still functions, but also the reverse light functions. And the controls for the sounds for running this under DC control, which how I'll be running this today, it was quite interesting. So best feature for this model are the lighting and the sound system. Alright, now comes the fun part. Let's crank up this GP38 and hear some of the sounds. When I get the power up to a certain voltage, you'll hear the startup sequence, followed by the prime mover idling. Alright, let's check out the horn. Now the way I'm controlling the horn is by toggling the direction switch on my Bachmann transformer. You could do long blasts of the horn like this. Or short toots like this. Which I think is cool. Now let's check out the bell. And in my opinion, it's a pretty nice sounding bell. Now, if you're running this under standard DC control, the way to toggle the bell on and off is to flip the direction switch quickly, like this. That's with activating it and deactivating it. And when it's moving, if you're slowing this engine down at a rapid rate, you'd hear the sound of the brakes squealing, which I think is a really cool thing. Alright, now let's have this engine pick up a refrigerator car. Now, in order to change directions on this engine while the solids are functioning, you have to do it quickly. Right after the engine comes to a stop. Alright, now we've picked up the refrigerator car. Now let's go ahead and roll it on out to the main line. So how well did she run today? She ran great. Thank you. Take care. See you soon. Alright, that about wraps it up for this review. As you saw, this engine is an absolutely gorgeous model. And I mean that in terms of appearance and also sound. And speaking of sound, this engine is equipped with a QSI type sound system. And if you want to find one of these, or a model of this particular GP38, you can find them on eBay and other websites like that. But Atlas still makes models of GP38s like this that are equipped with sound. And I forgot to mention this, but as you heard, the sound does run on both standard DC control and DCC control. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I am Toby Passman, and I will see you next time.